Hey everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and in this video I'm going to show you how I made this 3D sugar skull tumbler. Isn't this so pretty? I love the way this came out. But so I got my inspiration from this, which I purchased at the Dollar Tree. And so if you're interested how I made this into this, stick around and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so I am starting out with a 20-ounce Skinny Straight by Makerflow, and I have sanded it and spray painted it matte black. Now, everybody knows that black glitter is the problem child of the glitter world, and you know, so to really get that perfect sparkle is really difficult with black glitter. So I decided that I am going to put my white opalescent white snow glitter into epoxy and spread it on my cup. And so now what you can see is that it is got a gold and a green hue, and you probably can't see it as well as I can, but yeah, it's definitely got this gorgeous gold with this green like color shift on it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I so love this glitter. It's so versatile. And you can do so much with it. So I put about 2 of those little mini teaspoon scoops into 20 mLs of Quick Coat epoxy. And so I'm using Stone Coat's Quick Coat. And this is going to be, I'm going to be able to work with this in about 2 hours. So you don't have to do Quick Coat. You can do, you know, regular epoxy. It's completely up to you. I chose to do Quick Coat because I have enough time to where I'm going to work on this cup a little bit later on. Once you've got this all nice and smooth and you feel like your glitter is even, go ahead and take your heat gun, I'm sorry, not your heat gun, your torch, your kitchen torch, and pop all your bubbles. Alright guys, so what I did was I purchased this from the Dollar Tree, and it was 3 of these side by side. And I actually, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to cut one of these out, so that's what I did. And the reason why I didn't show you doing this on camera is because, you know, this was a total experiment and I had no idea if this was going to work, so I didn't do it on camera. I should have, but I didn't. Sorry, guys. So I cut this out. It took some muscle to get this cut. This plastic is really tough. And I flipped it over and I used this as a mold. This is not silicone, this is plastic. And I didn't know if this was going to work. I did not prep this with anything. I just used 30 mLs of part A and 30 mLs of part B of my regular epoxy. So I did not use a Quick Coat, I used regular epoxy. And I mixed it together. I put some white paint in it and I put some white alcohol ink in it because I am going to let this sit overnight, or I was going to let it sit overnight. And I wanted it to still be flexible in the morning after about 8 hours. And so I find that it's more flexible if I use paint and epoxy, plus I wanted it white anyway. So 30 mLs of A, 30 mLs of B, so that's 60 mLs total. So it was, you know, quite a bit to fill this mold. All right, or use this as a mold and fill this up. So in the next video, you're gonna see where I pop this out. And so this isn't flexible like silicone, so I actually had to kind of bend this to get it to come loose, but then it did pop out. So know that I did not prep this with anything. 60 mLs of epoxy, and it was flexible enough, and I am going to go into my next part of the video, which is the next day, where I pop this out and I mold it around the cup. So I left this part out and I'm adding this as I'm editing, and so I made this just so I can explain to you guys how I did this. All right guys, so I poured this last night and in hopes that it was flexible enough this morning, and in order to get this out, because this is plastic and not silicone, it's not real flexible, I do just kind of pull on the edges. And I already did this, I already popped this out, sorry guys, I wasn't thinking. And so you pull your piece out, and now we're gonna get this to mold around the cup. And so if it's not flexible enough, like if you've missed your window, you can go in and heat it up with a heat gun and soften it up and then, you know, go ahead and mold it around the cup. So this is a little bit, all right, it's working. There we go. It's a little bit hard, so I'm gonna heat this up just a hair. You just take your heat gun. It doesn't take a whole lot of heat, and you get more flexibility out of it. So I'm just gonna line this up where I want it. If you wanna go ahead and measure, make sure it's directly, like perfectly in the center, you can. I think I am going to measure this time. You know, guys, I eyeball everything, but let's see. We got 1 inch here. We got 1 1/4 inch here, good enough. I am not gonna mess with doing that. So we're gonna get this molded around the cup. And now, since this is not fully cured, it should seal itself to the cup. So when you take the rubber bands off, or whatever you use to hold it on the cup, it's gonna stay. It ain't coming off. So you don't need to glue it or anything. And that's exactly what I did when I did my dragon, my 3D dragon tumbler, which I'm gonna link that so you guys can see. It came out really cool. Super happy with that one. I need to make myself one. All right, so just want to make sure these rubber bands are, I actually would prefer thicker ones for something like this. And be careful too, you don't want this too soft, because if it's too soft, then you're going to get rubber band lines. All right, guys, so this, I'm sure, will be stuck to this cup now. It's been many, many days because I just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, this is not coming off this cup. And so now I'm ready to put my water slide on. So what I've done is I took this image and I cut it out. The plastic was really hard to cut out. It was really strong plastic. Usually the Dollar Tree plastic stuff is really cheap. This is really hard to cut out. And then I went and I scanned this, but I had some issues with scanning it because it was really shiny. So what I did was I sprayed it with matte spray and then put it on my scanner and scanned it. Transferred the image, printed it out on clear water slide, and so here it is. So I am going to spray down my skull, and then because I'm using this koala and I've been using this, and this paper doesn't really need to be soaked in water. You can just kind of spray it down. And I did mirror this image, so I'm gonna just wait for it to release, and then I'm just gonna slide this off. So the reason why I went through all of this trouble is because I cannot paint to save my life. I cannot draw to save my life. So it was just, although probably easier to just do it this way, even though it was like a crazy, insane amount of work, it was just absolutely worth it to me. All right, guys, so I'm just going to speed this up. So I've applied my water slide, and I am going to pat out the bubbles with my fingers, or as Myra makes it, she calls her fingers her booger hooks. I don't know why, but every time she says that, I crack up, or refers to her fingers as sausages. Anyway, so I'm going to use my booger hooks to smooth out these bubbles, get them all around, get the water out. I'm going to pat it with a paper towel to get all the excess. Because we're working on a curved surface, there are some places that may buckle a little bit, and it may be a little bit difficult to get it flat. So you can use your weeding tool and or a craft knife to put slits in it to get it to lay flatter. You can use your craft knife to pop any stubborn bubbles if you're afraid you don't want to rip the water slide trying to get them from the middle on out. And so that will work really easily. Just go around. Once you have your water slide on, and you feel like it's in the right place, you're going to go ahead and let this dry for at least an hour or more before you go ahead and epoxy this. So I just spend, a lot of time, making sure that this is nice and smooth. And I'm going to cut off here because you don't need to watch another 10 minutes of me doing this. All right, guys, not quite done with this. I'm looking at it and I'm like, sugar skulls oftentimes have flowers around. And I have this book of flower stickers that I picked up at Michael's a while ago. So I'm looking through and I really like some of these flowers, these flower clusters. So I think what I want to do is I want to put them around, but I want to, put it on a little bit. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I might have to trim some stuff off. All right, I'm going to speed this up too because this was totally experimental. So I was just working on this. I had no idea whether or not this was going to work. And I spent, I think, 15 minutes placing these stickers on, finding out whether or not I like them. They are transparent, so you can see through them. So some of them didn't work because they were too see-through. And so, I'm rubbing them on. I'm trying to figure out placement. It was like I said, I'll be honest, totally experimental. I had no idea when I did this that I was going to want the flowers. And I don't know, at some point, I think they caught my eye and I decided, all right, yeah, you know what, this is a good idea. I'm going to do this. And, I wanted to, I thought maybe of overlapping the flowers onto the sugar skull, like the 3D sugar skull would be a good idea. I wound up deciding that I didn't like that for the way that they were setting on there. And so I wound up trimming them and taking them off of the skull. And I wound up using flowers that had gold in it. So this was, quite a process of 15 minutes of flipping through pages and figuring out which flowers I wanted and where I wanted them. And so if you want to watch this process, go ahead. I'm just going to keep the speed up. I'm going to throw on some music and until, I'm done placing my flowers.
what you want. Just tell me what you want. It's a great big let loose, and I'm feeling down. When you've got what you want, maybe I should start over. There's nothing left to want. Open at 'em again. You don't know what you want. Yeah, I'm thinking it over. Just tell me what you want. Keeping me from thinking straight of lost composure. When you've got what you want, maybe I should start over. There's nothing left to want. Open at 'em again. You don't know what you want. Yeah, I'm thinking it over. Just tell me what I. When you've got what you want, maybe I should start over. Just tell me what you want. When you've gotten what you want. Yeah, I'm thinking it over. Just tell me what I. When you've got what you want, maybe I should start over. There's nothing left to want. Open at 'em again.
All right, guys, so all my flowers are placed and my water slide is dry, and I am ready for my first coat of epoxy. And so I am using 25 mLs of part A and part B, my regular set epoxy, because when I'm doing this, it is late, so I'm gonna let it turn overnight. And so first I'm gonna apply the epoxy to the sugar skull using my finger or my sausage, whatever you wanna call it. And I am going to get that all around in the cracks. There were some spots that did lift a little bit, like the skull lifted a little tiny bit away from the cup, so it wasn't a complete seal. So that's not a big deal. You just go ahead and put a little bit of epoxy in there. It just adds to 3D. It's already 3D, so it wasn't lifted to the point where it was like I had to redo it. And so I just went in and put it around and, put it in those crevices, and it worked out perfectly once it was cured. So then I'm just going to go in the rest of my cup. I did decide to put a saying on the back of it, and I did that with brushed gold vinyl. I cut it out on my Cricut. It was a pain in the butt to weed, and it was a pain in the butt to apply. But it works really well. It looks great on this cup with the gold glitter, or the gold to green shift glitter over the black base. And so then once I'm done with this, I am going to torch for bubbles, and it's going to turn overnight, and then I am going to be back with my final remarks. Hey guys, this cup is done. Look how pretty she is. Look at this. This turned out exactly the way I wanted it to, and I put this saying on the back, and I didn't want to bring too much attention to this. I didn't want to understate it, and I didn't want to overstate it, so I did it kind of a small lettering in gold. I thought it's just, a really powerful statement, but everything about this came out, so nice. And I really, when I started this cup, I really didn't know how this was going to turn out. I didn't know how, I made some changes, and just kind of wung it with this one. So I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. If you guys have any questions, please post them in the comments below. You know, I tried to cover everything that best that I could, because this is, this may be a little bit intimidating to do, since, you know, 3D can be a little bit tough, but I've done 3D before. I absolutely love doing 3D, and I will be doing more for sure. But thank you all guys for watching. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Subscribing helps me. I need to get out there. I need more subscribers to help me out. Please make a comment. Please share. That's it. You can also share. Make sure you share my videos as well to get me out there. And check the links, check the description box down below for links, or where you can find products that I use. And thank you guys, and I will see you all next time. Bye.